Well, now let's turn the spotlight to individuals who help the less fortunate. Poet Amanda Chong is a deputy public prosecutor by day, but also finds time to help kids from low-income families at weekends. Now, our own Natalie Edwards caught up with her just as the best writers, storytellers and bookworms all gather for the Singapore Writers' Festival.
Now, you published your first book at age 10. That's pretty impressive. Did you always know that you were going to be a writer?
It was actually a school project, and we were meant to write a picture book about anything that we wanted. And at that point of time, I wanted to be a pediatric oncologist.
You're such an overachiever. At age 10, you wanted to be helping people and saving lives.
Yes, and then I later realized that I wasn't very good at science, so I couldn't be a doctor. But my mom used to take me to Queenstown Public Library a lot, and I used to read a whole range of books. And one of my weird habits was that I would read in the bathtub. So a lot of my childhood books are wrinkled at the bottom because I would accidentally drop the book into the bathtub.
Oh dear, and how long do you stay in the bathtub for?
Sometimes several hours.
And I believe that you are still helping kids in some way, right?
Yes, I'm very passionate about early childhood education. So some of my colleagues and I, we work together in this organization called Readable, and we teach kids from a low-income neighborhood how to read. So we spend every Sunday for about 2 years now just going through like a phonics program with them.
Now, you're also a lawyer by day, and some say that lawyers, right, are practical to a fault. And poets, whereas, are supposedly dreamers. So I was wondering, are you paradoxical by nature?
I kind of see the poet part of myself and the lawyer part of myself as each a refuge from each other. So as part of my job, I have a tendency to be quite hyper-rational about things, and that gets tiring sometimes. Whereas this poet part of me is a little bit more emotionally intense and vulnerable. It's pretty much a perfect balance.
So I imagine that you have a really glib tongue. So how does being a writer actually help you win cases?
Well, for legal writing, it's often about distilling very complicated concepts into something that is simple and that is persuasive to the judge. And as for writing poetry, it's about distilling complex emotions and feelings about life. So in that sense, I kind of feel that I'm operating on the same wavelength.
You know, at your age, I imagine you must follow pop stars and bands. And who are some of your favorite ones?
I would say that I have a guilty pleasure, and that guilty pleasure would include Taylor Swift.
So let's say Taylor Swift is out there and one of your favorite authors is out there, and you can only have one autograph, and whose autograph would you want?
Considering my favorite poet is dead, I would probably have to say Taylor Swift.
Now, one of your works is in full view at the Helix Bridge. What do you think that particular poem was chosen at this particular spot?
They wanted a young voice to write about Singapore's past. So the poem that I have up there, which is Lionheart, is very much about how Singapore came to establish itself. And in writing that poem, I was mentored by Professor Edwin Thambu, and his poem is Below the Stairs. So it's meant to be a juxtaposition of an older, more mature voice writing about the future of Singapore and a younger voice writing about the past.
So tell us what more needs to be done, right, for local poets to be more well-known overseas?
I think what we really need is to have a group of Singapore readers who are very into Singapore literature. I think the culture of reading is not very much developed in Singapore as it is in other countries. And in order for a country's literature to be exported, you have to have a home base of readers who support writers and support their work.
Still to come.